Hello everyone, this is Charissa again, back to our new launch analysis series. So today I'll be talking about Norwood Grand. I think this is a highly anticipated project because this is the first launch after 12 years in Woodlands itself. So a lot of residents, they are actually quite anxious about it because like I've mentioned, 12 years we didn't have any launch in Woodlands itself. So I will go to the analysis and I will be talking about from the 1+ study all the way to the 4-bedroom, what kind of unit types they have, what are the pros and cons, things that you can look out for. So I hope that this video will be able to help you when it comes to choosing any unit types, or if you're looking at Norwood Grand, this could be some of the tips that you can actually look at. Okay, so without further ado, we will start. Okay, so Norwood Grand is by CDL, so one of the top-notch developer in Singapore itself. And like I've mentioned, 12 years, and their preview period, it starts on the 4th of October. Booking date is on 19th of October. Okay, so total there are 348 units with 4 blocks of 11 stories. We also have childhood development, which is like a childcare within the development itself. 1+ study, all the way to 4-bedroom, 4+ study. And also the TOP date, we're looking at March 2023. It's slightly longer than usual. Some of my buyers say, oh, why is it so long? So it's taking about 6 years, but I think it does have their pros and cons when you have a longer period of TOP. Okay, so which I think later I will be touching on it as well. Okay, so where exactly is Norwood Grand Residence? So it is at here. It is along Champions Way, and it is about 3 to 5 minutes to the Woodlands South MRT Brown Line. So I'll be touching on the connectivity later. And also, if let's say from Woodlands South, you can go one stop to Woodlands Brown Line, or you can actually go to this red line as well. So the connectivity, I would say, is very close to MRT station. Connectivity is good, and most importantly, we are in a established estate where we have schools, we have Vista Point, secondary school, and even JC, we have it here as well. So schools wise, food wise, amenities wise, I don't see a huge issue, which I will be touching it on with more of the amenities later on. So Norwood Grand, if we're talking about the brown line, right, which is the Thomson East Coast line, before even the completion of this property, which is 2030, right, the Thomson East Coast line will already be completed. So that, which also means that you will have your connectivity already ready for you 3 years sitting there, when you will be able to enjoy it when the project's TOPs. Okay, then we also have the RTS, and then in Woodlands itself we have the bus interchange, the Woodlands MRT, which is the red line, and also Wood Square. So these are the main key factors. If let's say we're looking at 1+ study or even a 2-bedroom, we're looking for investment point of view, where exactly will be our tenant pool. So it's about 5 minutes walk to Woodlands South MRT station. Okay, so next up, like I've mentioned, the true convenience of this place is that we have the Woodlands Health Campus, and that is, if let's say, like again, your tenant pool will come from here. And school wise, we will have Innova Primary School just right beside, and Republic Poly Secondary School all around this area. Food and shopping wise, we have Causeway Point, Vista Point, etc. Okay, there is a few facings because there's a total of 4 blocks, right? So there are a few facing for Norwood Grand, and most of the facing, I would say, is actually facing the HDBs. Here, it's mostly facing the HDBs, or inner facing and school facing. So this school is about 4 stories high. So if we're let's say looking at something that clears above the school, we can look at something maybe 6th floor and above, because 4, right? So 5th you will probably see the roof. 6th floor and above, you should be able to see towards the HDB portion above the school. Okay, then next up, this is the site plan. So this site plan gives us an overview of this area, especially Woodlands. So I think when we want to look at Norwood, we also want to know what it will probably be our exit plan in the future. So if we look at Norwood itself, it is actually surrounded by a lot of HDBs. And some of the HDBs under construction, which that means by 2030, this HDBs will probably be already ready, and then they probably will have stayed in, which that probably we stay for about 1 or 2 years or 3 years. They will reach their MOP. If you follow my other videos, right, I also mentioned that when we want to buy or consider any properties, especially in the OCR region, we also want to know who are our future buyers in the future. So, which means to say that actually for Norwood Grand, right, even the TOP is longer, but we do have a lot of supporters in a way, where they actually, if they want to do any upgrading, they also want to look at somewhere nearby, because if let's say the kids' school is just close by, they wouldn't want to shift like maybe to somewhere else like Punggol or whatsoever, but so they want to shift within the area, and you will actually be the newest property in this Woodlands itself. Okay, so your future buyers will be all these people. Okay, so 4 blocks, so we have 6, 2, 10 and 8. And then this is just a site plan. Pool, it's over here. We have the tennis court as well. So I won't be touching so much on the facilities, but more so on what kind of unit types that is available. Okay, so next, 1+ study. We have about a total of 31 units. Size-wise is 495 square feet. 2-bedroom. We have 2+ ensuite study. We have 2-bedroom plus study. And a total of 348 units. Okay, so again, without further ado, we will go to this is just a site plan to show you where exactly are the blocks and the units. So total is 11 floor. And next, so 1+ study. Okay, so 1+ study, 495 square feet, right? We have stacked 4, 13 and 28. So basically 24, 13 and 28 are all facing the HDBs. Okay, so let's touch on the floor plan itself. This is quite a standard floor plan for 1+ study, I would say. With the study just right beside the kitchen, you can probably choose to enclose this portion. And toilet for the master bedroom is actually Jack and Jill concept. So if you have guests or whatever, they don't need to enter into your bedroom to enter into the toilet. Okay, so I think most importantly is we need to know who are our competitors in the neighboring like projects. Okay, so I did a research. The 1+ study supply, right, over in Woodlands itself, in the 15 to 20 years old, there are 508 units. Okay, and most importantly, there isn't any units that is under 10 years old. They are mostly 15, 16, like for example, Park Rosewood is 16 years old, Woodhaven is 15, and then Rosewood Suites is 19 years old. And of course, we have the most units or the most competition coming from Park Rosewood. And if we were to do the comparison, in terms of location-wise, we are definitely the nearest to the MRT station. Okay, and of course, the most importantly is we are the newest as well. Okay, so I will be doing some analysis on, let's say for example, if you're looking at 1+ study, what kind of rental yield, what kind of yield are we expecting, or what kind of rental price are we expecting? Okay, so Northwood, if we compare it to Woodhaven's rental, as of now, the average rental is about 2,800. Okay, then Park Rosewood is about 2,750 on average. And and Norwood Grand, we're looking at maybe an estimate of 2008. So again, let's compare the layout. Layout I would say is pretty similar. Study on this corner, study on this corner, study on this corner, and also study on this corner. So basically not much of a difference. So if let's say if the rental we are demanding about the same amount or same price, given we are much newer and 2008, so that's why I didn't stack out on the rental itself. But normally newer properties, they can demand for slightly higher, especially we are closer to the MRT as compared to the rest, but we just do it in a safer amount of 2008. Let's see, for example, if the one bedroom, the developer has already announced that the price is starting from 988. Okay, so 988. So 988, let's say basically we are roughly looking at about this. So I did a table. If let's say the price will be at this kind of range, then of course your rental yield will be higher. But if we, let's say we start from here, we're looking at, because they are targeting to launch at below 1 million, right? So if with the rental rate of 2008 per month, we're looking at quite a decent rental yield of 3.39 or even 3.36. Of course, if let's say if it's higher, then it will go slightly further down. Okay, so I did based on what the developer has announced at this price range currently. Okay, so I would say that the 1+ study, to be honest, is pretty decent for 3% currently for the 1-bedder in Woodlands itself. Okay, so let's move on to the 2-bedder. So 2-bedder, there are different layouts again. Like we see from the spreadsheet, what are the unit mix, what are the units available. So for the 2+ study, right, we have the smallest at 624 square feet, stack 5, stack 12, stack 17, 24, 25, and 32. Okay, so these are facing the school, and further away will be the HDB. Okay, then here will be directly to the HDB itself, this view. Okay, so let's talk about the layout first. Layout wise, for this 2-bedder, I personally feel it's not too bad a layout, because the kitchen itself, right, is actually tucked in a corner. So this kind of layout is kind of highly sought after in the market, because most of the layouts are the traditional kind where it's open concept or long kind or even L kitchen. So this kind of layout, it's one of the highly sought after layouts as it's tucked in a corner. And although it doesn't have any window, but there is a glass over here. So which means to say, when you have a glass here, I mean, some buyers will say that if this is a wall, right, then it will be very dark. But because the developer has created glass over here, so you can actually get light coming into the kitchen itself. Okay, and then also they have their designated dining area, which I think is quite good. The only not so good thing is that they don't have any windows in the toilet. So ventilation wise, you probably might have to open up your bedrooms. But the good thing is that both rooms are kind of ensuite, because this is like a Jack and Jill concept as well. Jack and Jill concept. So it's ensuite. So if let's say we are thinking of renting it out, then I think this layout both is actually considered an ensuite bedrooms, which actually is very rare to come by. Okay, next we have the 2-bedder ensuite plus study. Where is it located? There's only one stack for this 667 square feet. Okay, stack 14, which is facing HDB. Sorry, this is 11 units, not 1 unit. Okay, sorry. Okay, so the study. So this one is kind of like more of the standard kind of layout for 2-bedder, where they have more open concept kitchen. But at least this portion, right, we can still think of doing a sliding door if you want to cover it up. But most of the buyers, if you buy a 2-bedder, they will just leave it as it is. Okay, and then the study is in the master bedroom itself. One point to note that if when you have a study in the master bedroom, right, so the master bedroom, other than this window, there is no other windows over here. so which actually might make the master bedroom a bit darker, I would say, in terms of light wise, okay, because we only have this panel of windows having the light coming in. The good point is that we have windows in the master bath, but not the common bath. Okay, 2-bedder plus study, the B2S. Okay, so B2S, 710 square feet. We have stack 1, stack 8, stack 9, and stack 20. So mostly is pool and school and HDB facing. Then whereas for stack 20, it's HDB facing. So for this is the kind of layout that I've mentioned, L kitchen, where even if you want to close up, it's also a bit tough, but at least it's still tucked in a corner and not in between the doors. Okay, and then we have a designated study area. So this is the traditional 2-bedder layout where rooms are all tucked in a corner. Unlike the 624 square feet, it's a dumbbell layout. The 710 square feet is traditional layout, but point again to note there is no windows in both the toilets. Okay, because I think 2-bedders, right, most of the time they are actually sandwiched in between all the units type, so that's the reason why it will be a bit harder to actually create any of the windows in the toilet itself. Okay, so if we look at all the unit types, most of it 624 doesn't have, only 667 has master bedroom bath has windows, the rest doesn't have any windows. Okay, so now let's compare between the 2-bedders. Okay, so 624 square feet, all these stacks facing the school and the HDB, 77 units. So we have the starting price of the 2-bedder. So after I did a calculation, right, it's starting for 1.238. So if it should be the smaller one at 1984 PSF. So after that, I will derive as it is a 624, because I think the 3-bedder they start from the middle layout, so the other size instead of the smallest one. Okay, so now let's compare, assuming, right, based on the same PSF, the starting price for the 667 times the same PSF, I will say that it's about 1.323 million. So which means to say that the 667 versus the 624, right, is about 100k difference starting from. And given both the layouts, right, honestly I would prefer this lah, because tuck kitchen and also dumbbell layout with ensuite. So with this 100k difference, if let's say it's a negligible amount, okay, unless this PSF is slightly lower, then of course I might consider the 67. But if it's based on the same PSF, because of the facing, right, both are facing HDB, this is facing school and HDB. So if that's the case, then probably I will go for the 2-bedder instead for 624. Okay, so later I will give you a full conclusion of all the unit types. So now let's compare the 624 versus the 710, because I think let's compare the biggest and the smallest 2-bedder first. So if let's say, assuming it's starting from 1.238 again for 624, if we say 710, it's about the same PSF again, we are looking at about 1.408. So which is a 170k difference, starting from 170k difference. So if let's say we're looking at investment point of view, this and this will not have a very huge difference in terms of the rental. It might have some, but not huge, because this study is not exactly enclosable and it's just a space. So if you ask me, I will give this as a more in this recommendation. 624, if let's say we're buying for investment point of view, then I will choose 624 square feet, because like I've mentioned all the good things about the 624, And in terms of quantum wise, definitely this is much lower. I will not go for 667. In terms of, let's say, own stay wise, I will go for this because still this is a traditional kind of layout where rooms are all tucked in a corner and you still have this study space. But of course, if let's say you want to shift, you have the flexibility to shift. You have the flexibility to shift your dining here, or you don't need the study, or let's say if it's just a small family, you want to put your piano here or even maintain it as a study, there is still a little bit of space over here. So own stay wise, I will pick 710. Investment wise, I will pick 624 square feet. So next up will be the 3-bedder, 3 deluxe. Okay, so 3 deluxe, right, is starting from 872 square feet. Stack 18 and 31 facing the school and HDB. Okay, then the good thing about this layout is that it has a entrance that comes with a foyer. That gives a lot of privacy. If not, most of the smaller 3-bedders are straight into the unit, so less privacy I would say. Okay, the good thing also with the kitchen is that it comes with a window as well, and then the toilet also comes with a window. Okay, but again, master bath also comes with window as well. Yeah, so basically this, although the size is slightly smaller, but this fits all the, I would say, criteria of normal 3-bedder, other than not having a storeroom or yard area. Okay, so their study is also right over here. So if let's say you feel that the study is a bit too small, I think this can be set up and then you can create more storage space. If not, it's a bit weird to have a study over here, honestly. But at least this layout, I would say that each has its own space. Like you have the living, and then dining is also designated as well, and then you have all the windows, what you need in a unit itself, unlike the 2-bedders. Okay, so we have another type, which is the C2. C2 is 883 square feet. It's only one stack of stack 3, which is here, and it's facing the HDB. Okay, so this is the layout whereby I mentioned it's straight into the unit, so it's less privacy. It doesn't have this foyer area. Okay, and then good thing is that windows are also available in this unit. Windows in the kitchen, bath, both the bathrooms. Yeah, then of course I would say that this 872 and this is slightly the same in terms of the layout, with the study also here, which you of course can create other usage for this. But the only thing is that it's straight in lah. Yeah, so some buyers, if they prefer more privacy, then of course they will pick the 872 square feet unit. Okay, so 3 plus study, C3S. Okay, so 904 square feet, 6, 16 and 21. 21 is facing HDB, 16 is facing school. This one, it's slightly more dumbbell kind of layout. Yeah, I mean, of course you have 2 bedrooms over here, but another bedroom over here, so it's not the traditional kind of layout, and you have a designated study space over here, because I think they created this layout because they also need to create a study space. So I think this is the most possible way to create like the study space. They have wet and dry kitchen, not so necessary for such a small unit, but still good to have. But the only thing is that they don't have any windows in the kitchen, and also both of the toilets, both the bathrooms lah. So not so ideal for own stay property, I would say. Okay, so now let's compare again the pricing. So let's say, for example, 872 versus 883 and then 904. So if let's say starting price is 1.698, 1923 PSF, so I derive this as 883 square feet. So if let's say the 872 square feet unit, right, is also at the same PSF, given that they are also facing HDB and school. So if let's say the lower floors of the 872 square feet, I would say that it will be probably priced the same as the 883. But if let's say the higher floor of the 872, it should be priced higher. Okay, so I'm just taking a comparison from the starting price. Okay, so given the same PSF 1923, this 872 square feet unit will be priced at about 1676 million. Okay, so come back to the comparison of the 3-bedder. Now we are comparing between 872, 883 and 904. So assuming the developer actually gave a starting price, so 1698 million starting from 1923 PSF. This is facing the HDB and I derive it as the 883 size after I do the math. So if let's say we are looking at 872 square feet unit, right, it's facing the school. So if the starting price, I would say, because if you are the lower ground, you will definitely be having the same facing as the HDB, and then this is facing the school. So I think above 6, there should be high chance there will be a jump in terms of the pricing. Okay, so if let's say we just do the starting price of 3 of the units, right, the price for 872 square feet, I would say it will be, let's say on the same PSF, it will be 1.676 million. So then the 904, right, because it's facing inwards, it's inward facing, which is, let's say for example Sec 16 we're looking at. I mean, of course we probably won't want to pick the HDB facing if let's say we have a choice of the pool facing or whatsoever, right? So if let's say if it's the inward facing, I think developer will likely add a premium into the PSF in terms of the PSF lah. So if let's say 904, right, if we add maybe 80 PSF, the price we're looking at is about 1.810. So the price difference between the 872 versus the 904 will actually be 133,000. If you ask me, based on my recommendation, I will go for the 872 square feet unit. Okay, because there is windows in the kitchen, all the good points are windows in the kitchen, and also all the baths, entrance with a foyer. And then of course it also creates more privacy. So if it's based on the same PSF, there won't be much of a gap to 883. So it's about maybe 20,000 difference. So I will still pick the 872 because the 872 square feet, although it's slightly smaller, but in terms of layout wise, in terms of my resale in the future, I think the 872 will be easier because I can attract better buyers in the future, own stay buyers. These are the things that they need. When you go to any of the units, right, you see straight in door and also entrance with foyer area. There would be some difference because of the layout is much better and because of the entrance lah, I would say again. And then comparing it to 904, there is no windows in the kitchen, bath, etc. and a bit of dumbbell layout, which I personally don't really like it. And I've been in the resale market as well, so dumbbell layouts generally is not pretty much acceptable by a lot of the buyers, and there will be a possible price gap because of the so-called better facing lah, because of facing the school, etc. And also the pool and then school. So if let's say you pick a lower floor, the lower floor already might have a premium, because if you look at the whole of Norwood, most of the units are facing outwards, HDB, or if not then it's school. So the inward facing, to be honest, if you ask me, I will feel that the developer will price it slightly higher, as in they will stack more of the premium on the inwards facing itself. Okay, so 3+ study. I will be comparing between the C4 PS versus the C5 PS. Okay, so C4 PS, there is only one stack, which is stack 26. Traditional kind of layout, extra foyer space for the with the entrance. That is again a plus point because it's not straight into the unit, so with more privacy. Facing the school, so if you take anything above 6, you will be far from the HDB over here. Okay, then traditional layout, and I think this is the plus point. So because this is a 3 plus study, 1044 square feet, right? So this layout, I would say that is good is because it has the flexibility for you to create a wide frontage if you don't really need the study space. If you need the study space, of course you can choose to keep it at ease, but if not, your living room space will be wider. Yeah, so if let's say you need it, then of course you can actually choose to enclose it up, or if not, glass it up also can. Yeah, but at least there is a possibility of flexibility, I would say, to create like a wider kind of a living room, which also, to be honest, it's very hard to come by such a wide living room in such 1044 square feet size. Okay, then next will be C5PS 3 Premium Plus Study, 1044 as well, stack 23 and 27. 23 is facing the school, so which is the same as 26. Okay, 27 will be HDBs. Okay, so generally the layout is the same. I mean, you have the windows all around, kitchen, you have window as well, you have a yard space here. And the good thing is that you have this flexibility of creating the wide frontage as well. But the only thing is that it's a long kind of entrance. That means there's less privacy. You don't have the L entrance area, which extra for your space for privacy purpose. One thing I need to highlight is that I personally like this layout, this part. I like the way the bomb shelter is being built, because honestly I've seen a lot of units, right? They always have the door here, which is actually pretty annoying. So when you open up the door, right, you don't know to open or close the door. So for here, right, I like it because your bomb shelter is, the door is over here. There is only a wall here, so it's not so inconvenient, I would say. It's because here is already very squeezy for most of the new launches, if you've seen, and then you have a door opening here and there. So I personally don't like that. So I quite like this. Okay, but if let's say you have very bulky items, then maybe it will be a bit hard to maneuver in. But actually here is no difference as well. So if you ask me, I prefer this layout. Okay, anyway, just a fun fact. Okay, so now, so between the smaller bedrooms and also the AF72, 90483 versus the 1044 square feet. So is it worth to actually go for the bigger size units, for example the 1044, given that the size is bigger and also the facing, school facing, right? Likely if above 6, the developer again will have some premium, I would say. So I will be showing you some examples of what is available in the market or previous research that I've done. Then you can probably decide if let's say you want to go for the smaller 3-bedder or even the bigger one. So is 3-bed premium worth the upgrade? Like I've mentioned, it will be a bit more of a premium in terms of the pricing. So if let's say we look at Affinity at Serangoon, so a 3-bed, let's compare the smaller versus the bigger one. 904 square feet, bought in 2018 June at 1.461 million. Okay, sold in August 2023 at 1.719. So the ROI, I did a math, is about 70%. Okay, versus a 3-bed premium 1076 square feet, also bought in the same time at 1.612 million. But eventually it was sold in October 2023, 2 months later at 2 million, 2.029 million. Given that they have bought like 10% higher, but the ROI for the 3-bed premium in Affinity also made more. Okay, so this is just some case study that you can do on the launch day itself. If you can take the comparison between the 904 or even the 1044, then you can do a better comparison, I will feel. Because next of my other examples, right, if you see, like for example next, this is also bought 11% more. So that previously was Affinity was 10% more. Okay, so this one is 11% more. This is Garden Residence, 797 square feet, bought in June 2019 at 1.239 million. sold in July 2024 for 1.531 million. Okay, then of course this is higher floor as well. 3 plus study 904 square feet in Gardeners Residence, bought in September 2019 at 1.384, sold for 1.77 billion. So ROI in terms of both the comparisons, we're looking at 112 versus 94, even though they bought at 11% higher. Okay, next, Riverfront 3-bed compact 8 floor unit, 872 square feet, September 2019, 1.17 million, sold July 2024 for 1.55. And interestingly, this was purchased 20% higher for the 3-bed premium 4th floor unit. This is purchased in 2019 November at 1.405 million. Eventually, it was sold in August 2024 for 1.88. So even though they purchased 20% more, but the ROI was 6% more, let's say. So basically, most of them have a better ROI for the bigger units if you have a look. This is 30%, around 33% more. This is more than 20%, even though they are bought like at a higher price for sure. So I mean, you can have this at the back of your mind when you go to the launch day, and then do your comparisons and see what is the in terms of percentage, how much more is it. Let's say for example it's a lot more, then of course we see here we already have a 20% more, but yet they have a higher ROI still. So it depends on your budget as well, and depends on how much premium the developer actually stack up for the bigger units. So before we go to the 4-bedder, so now you can compare. I mean, I have gave my recommendation for the smaller 3-bedder, which is the 872 square feet. And if let's say you're considering the 1044, then of course we will go for the one with the this layout, which is the C4PS. So then you can do your own math, and see if budget fits. Of course, if you're looking at higher returns in the future, and depending on how much the developer launch and how much percentage in terms of the premium, then you can have a better decision of whether should you go for 1044 or should we go for a smaller 3-bedder. Okay, the 4-bedroom types. Okay, so 4-bedroom types, there are 3 different kinds. We have the 1173 square feet 4 deluxe plus study. Okay, then we have 1313 and 1335. They are all premium plus study. Okay, so we go to each of the individuals. D1S 4 deluxe plus study 1173 square feet. So stack 6, stack 11 facing HDB. Okay, so let's go to the layout now. Good thing is that you have a foyer in the entrance area, windows in the kitchen, you have a wash closet, a yard, all these with windows. Okay, bath with windows as well, master bath with windows as well, so which is actually good. And study is in between 2 of the rooms. This one I personally don't quite like it, but some of the buyers, they do like this kind of layout because they really do need the study space. Okay, so one point to note is that the 1173 square feet, right? The bedroom 4 is slightly smaller. Yeah, so it's, if you look at this layout, right, this bed is actually already tucked to the wall. Yeah, but because this is a aircon latch, so that means this is a half wall and a window. So this is, you can fully actually tuck the bed into the wall, as in closer to the wall itself. Okay, so the good thing about this layout is that it has a dry kitchen and also a long dining, which I will touch on it later. Okay, so what's the plus point of this? So actually this long dining area, right, is actually much sought after by most of the buyers that are looking for bigger bedroom types, because I mean, bigger family, they need this long dining area. Yeah, so you can easily put, this is like a 8-seater as of now. Yeah, so which is actually very ideal for a 4-bedroom unit. Okay, so next, 1313 square feet. So 1313 square feet, we have stack 2, 7 and 10 facing pool. Of course 2 is not, so it's also inner facing, but 7 and 10, I tell you for sure the developer's gonna have quite a big premium over these few units, and it's facing the school, so higher floor for sure they will have a premium as well. School and then HDB here as well. And then here 19 and 30 stack will be facing HDBs. Total 54 units. Okay. Good thing is that this 1313 also has a foyer in the entrance area. Also the long dining area. Study is also same. Basically, it's mostly the same. The only difference here is that the fourth bedroom, okay, the fourth bedroom is slightly wider. But I won't say it's too much of a difference, but you can do your own comparison when you have a look at the length, because we don't have the specifications as of now. But when you go to the show flat, you can ask for it, you can do your own comparison, whether is it worthwhile to have a 4-bedroom just slightly more. But the thing here is that 1313, right, there is an extra balcony in the master bedroom itself, which, to be honest, it's not so feasible because a lot of buyers, they don't use it that much. Okay, as now we compare it back to 1173, right? 1173, it's the standard kind of wardrobe, whereas for here it's a walk-in wardrobe. Yeah, so I think the space, most of it, the difference goes to these areas. Yeah, because most of it is basically almost the same. Yeah, so this is the main difference. So this, and also the walk-in wardrobe. So this is I think the main difference between the 1313 versus 1173. PSF might be higher due to certain facing. So this certain facing, we're looking at stack 7 and 10. 2 of course will also be a premium facing as well. 19 and 30 will be priced lower for sure because they are facing the HDB. So if you want to do your own comparison, you have to look at in terms of the facing as well. Okay, so another layout will be the D3PS 1335 square feet, stack 15, again inner facing, and this one you should be able to see a bit of pool. So this is inner facing and HDB facing. Okay, yeah. Then this is the part whereby you need to take note. Yes, there is an extra foyer area, but even a longer walkway, and there's quite a bit of wasted space here, I would say. Okay, then the rest of the layout is almost the same, where you have windows everywhere, 4th bedroom slightly bigger, extra balcony space as well, walk-in wardrobe. Yeah, so I think the 1335 versus the 1313, this is the space that is gone to. So now, if let's say we were to compare price again, 1173 for deluxe plus study, starting price we already know that the developer has announced 2.238 1908 PSF. So if we compare it now to 1313 square feet size, assuming we take it at slightly higher PSF because of the facing, okay, just $50. The price we are looking at is 2.570, okay, and that will equate to a premium of 332,000. So if you ask me, just because of this and also slightly bigger 4-bedroom, right, and the facing, yes, it's inner facing. Other than this 10 and 7, the rest of it, if you ask me, they are also facing HDB. So if that's the case, I will go for 1173 because of the price. If you're considering the premium facing unit, or is it like this 1313 one, right, with this 332,000 premium, I would go for 1173. Okay, so then we compare it, of course, to the 1335's premium plus study. Okay, again back with the same PSF. If it's slightly higher at 1958 PSF, then the premium we're looking at is close to about 380,000, Yeah, so again, with this space, and also this slightly bigger space, I will also still go for 1173. So my recommendation will be first will be the 1173, then followed by 1313, and then the last one will be 1335. Because honestly, there isn't a huge difference in terms of or like the 1335. I must go for it because the space, I can't really tell where has it gone to, or it's mostly at the foyer area, extra foyer space, whereas here is slightly smaller, which is, I feel there's less wasted space, and layout wise is almost the same. Although it's a HDB facing for 1173, but the rest of the other units are not exactly in a better facing. They are also mostly facing HDB other than the stack 7 and 10. Yeah, so the fourth bedroom is also not exactly bigger. So, I mean, yes, there is a bit of a small gap, but maybe generally you probably can't feel it. Yeah, so, and then of course it's also a better layout and less wasted space. Yeah, so I honestly, I don't need a balcony in the master bedroom. Okay. Something to highlight is that if you are a buyer looking to purchase a unit, 3 or 4 bedroom, you're just comparing between these two, right? I did a comparison between the 3 and the 4 bedroom. So the 3 plus study, right? The good thing is that the possibility of creating a wide frontage over here. So if you ask me, if let's say we are looking at the 4 plus study, the 4 deluxe plus study, if it's really at this PSF, okay, so it is only a premium of 129. Of course, I'm assuming that the PSF for the 1044 size is about 2020, given the facing. Okay, so if let's say, if that's the case, I will probably go for this. Yeah, because in terms of wide dining, it's very rare to come by. And then you have the 4th bedroom as well. Whereas for here, it's more of just possible to create a wide frontage. And in this, you also still have your study. Yeah. So you just imagine if the developer were to create this 3-bedder, that means they do it the other way around. Then I tell you, to be honest, if you ask me, then the 3-bedder will have a hard time to sell. Yeah. So that is also why the developer has it created in this manner, where the 3-bedder is possible to create a wide frontage. So those buyers that don't need the 4th bedroom, right, they will feel that it's a waste to just put a bedroom there. They rather have a bigger living area. And yet, the developer not forgetting that because 4 bedrooms, right, they huge families, they need bigger dining area. So that's why they have created, I feel that in this manner. So if let's say you are a buyer that needs the 4 bedroom, needs the 4th bedroom, and looking at budget wise, I will go for the 1173 square feet. Yeah. Let's say, for example, if we compare it to 1044 versus 1313, then it will be a different story, because if we, let's say, because 1313 is a better facing, right, so then the premium jump will be more than $500,000. So if you ask me, then probably if I don't need the 4th bedroom, then I will go for this. But if I need the 4th bedroom, I will go for 1173. Okay, so I've come to the end of my analysis. So if you have any questions on Norwood, or if you need more analysis, or what kind of unit types, or even like financially you need somebody to do calculation for you, or you want to have a look at the show flat, don't hesitate to contact me. My number is shown here. Once again, I'm Charissa, and I'll see you soon.